Both sides of a story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of a story. Knowledge is power. Class is in session, hour 106.
But to every mind there openeth a way and way and a way. A high soul climbs the highway, and the low soul gropes the low. And in between, on the misty flats, the rest drift to and fro. But to every man there openeth a highway and a low, and every mind decideth the way his soul shall go. One ship sails east and another west, by the selfsame winds that blow. 'Tis the set of the sails, and not the gales, that tells the way we go. Like the winds of the sea are the waves of time, as we journey along through life. 'Tis the set of the soul that determines the goal, and not the calm or the strife.
And may sunshine and happiness surround you when you're powerful. And may you grow to be proud, dignified, true. And to want to understand, you have done to you. Be courageous and be brave. And in my heart you'll always stay. Forever young, forever young, forever young. May good fortune be with you, may your guiding light be strong. Build a stairway to heaven, the prince of and may it sail and in my heart you will remember forever young, forever young, and when you find it right away, I'll be hoping that I saw where I left. the rest of our lifetime, no one can ever tell. But whatever road you choose, I'm right behind you when you're lost. Forever young, forever young, forever young, forever
Forever Young. Yes, indeed. This is Forever Young by Rod Stewart. It's one of those timeless recordings, for some people reserved for encouragement during the graduation period, which is happening all over the world right now. Graduations everywhere. And so Rod Stewart found a clever way to pass on words of wisdom and words that will stay with the graduates for life. And so we say a big up, Jamaican style, to all those who have been playing their part in support of our, whether you're a graduand, which is before you actually graduate, or a graduate. We want to wish you all the very best as you move forward in pursuit of excellence. So the poetry this afternoon, "'Tis the set of the sail, one ship sails east," and it's another timely piece to coincide in the graduation season. And we want to use this opportunity as the broadcast progresses to see how many of us can actually remember the graduation song and what that meant to us at the time of graduation. So you can think about that as the broadcast progresses. But first, we're going to welcome a man who's quite a giant. He is going to be involved in one of the Diaspora Day of Service exercises. And this is going to be at the Mount Olive Basic School in Johns Hall, St. James. They'll be painting and landscaping while procuring school supplies, which will be distributed for the benefit of the students. And so this is scheduled for Thursday, the 20th of June, 2024. Just giving you enough time to be prepared for the event. And so who are we talking about? Retired Associate Director with the Toronto Public Health, Dr. Sylvanus Thompson. And he's going to join us in just a moment. Sorry about that. The device has started to flip. Okay. All right, in just a moment, we will connect with Dr. Sylvanus Thompson, world renowned public health specialist, and he's going to be sharing with us, for starters, this afternoon here on both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls as well on 876-922-4112 876-922-4112. And the text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. There are lots of other conversations going to and fro, not just here on the ground in Jamaica, but across the diaspora and beyond. And we're also curious to find out from you, our faithful listeners at home and abroad, the topics that are getting your attention on an afternoon such as this, the 21st of May, 2024. So it's coming up to break time. Let's take the break and then we'll come back with more in just a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. As we said, our guest in this segment is a retired associate director with Toronto Public Health. He was in charge of public health in Toronto during his time, and he is an internationally sought after public health professional. None of these conferences happen without him, quite frankly. And we're not boasting, we're just saying what is. A Jamaican who is impacting, yet another Jamaican impacting the world. So let's say hello and welcome to Dr. Sylvanus Thompson. Thank you once again, Dr. T, for agreeing to join us for this afternoon's edition of Both Sides of the Story on Power 106 FM. How are you?
All is well, Dervan, and the thanks goes to you, for allowing me the opportunity to be on your program yet again.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much for saying yes.
Dervan calls, you have to say yes.
Oh, you're very kind. So let's start with how your plans are coming along in terms of the areas of interest, the matters that you're having to put together in preparation for the start of the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Are you there yet?
Well, we're there. We're close to getting there. The plans are, well in place here in Canada. The Global Jamaica Diaspora Council members based in Canada, working with the High Commissioner, the Consul General, and others. We have been making plans to attend the conference, and of course, the after conference Jamaica Diaspora Day of Service. So the plans are in place for both events.
Mm-hmm. And how have you been working it in? Because you're dealing with different Jamaicans in different locations, whether they're in Canada or the UK or the USA. Is there a technique that you use to be able to identify the areas of most interest in terms of people who are making contact, making preparations, signaling what's coming up, etc.
Hey, that's really interesting, Dervan. So it starts with a planning committee. There's a planning committee based in Jamaica, and includes members in the diaspora, whether it's in the UK, Canada, USA, or elsewhere. So other global diaspora council members, for example, are a part of that planning committee. There is a program manager, someone who is managing the whole planning component. The Minister Cherlong is the minister responsible for diaspora affairs. But the Courtney from Victoria Mutual, he is the conference chair. So it's a coordinated process, the planning taking place and the promotions, with GIS and other media, or the say being promoted globally, and for persons to know what's taking place, and I get that input from the council members and others in the dance.
Hmm. And what can you tell us with respect to registration in general terms? How is that going?
Well, I can respond about Canada.
Hmm.
In Canada, we are on the registration. It actually started slowly, but it's picking up. The registration is picking up. I know about quite a number of persons from Toronto here, for example. Canada is it's kind of big, different regions, different time zones. So it's not easy to get a good sense of how many persons are going from each region. But right now, the focus is on promoting the conference and getting persons registered, not just showing interest, but actually registering. And it's actually picking up. I know quite a few persons who have actually registered already from just the Toronto area.
Is there any particular area that you think needs more attention than others in terms of the different topics of discussion and areas of interest that are already being worked on or to be included going forward?
I would not say yes to that. No matter how much emphasis is placed on any topic, persons would want more. But given that the conference is only 3 days, there's only so much that can be discussed within that 3 day time period. However, what I do know is that the topics that are discussed are, to a great extent, topics of interest to the persons in the diaspora. For example, in Canada, we had a regional conference. And what we did for that regional conference, we did what we call a community engagement survey, where we found out from persons in Canada what are the topics of interest from them. And I'm pretty sure that other regions use more or less the same approach. And to a great extent, the topics being discussed at the conference are based on that kind of feedback.
Mhm. And why are you interested in diaspora matters, Sylvanus Thompson? What is it about diaspora engagement that has had your attention now from what
For too long.
yes.
Okay, so Dervan, first and foremost, I live in Canada. I'm a Canadian citizen. Well, I have dual citizenship. I'm permitted to do that. But I'm not Jamaican, right? And I'm sure that nobody will throw me out of Canada because I say that I'm a Jamaican. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a Jamaican. You don't have to ask to know that I'm a Jamaican. So anything that is of interest or of concern to Jamaica is a concern to me. Any assistance I can personally give to Jamaica, I will. And any kind of coordinated effort I can to get others to support Jamaican cause, I will definitely do that. So it's just a part of me, Dervan, being a Jamaican, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one. But you're asking me specifically that question. So being a Jamaican, we in the diaspora, we really, really care about Jamaica, and we try our best to assist Jamaica when possible.
And what aspect of the diaspora movement do you find to be inspiring?
But I've been involved in almost any aspect of that movement. the biannual conference is only one, but right through the year, I'm doing something related to Jamaica. Based on my public health, experience, my public health background, my field public health, I have been involved more in health-related projects than or issues than any other area. That doesn't mean that education is not important. It doesn't mean that crime and safety is not important. But based on my background, my involvement, I'm closely associated with the Jamaica Association of Public Health Inspectors. I'm actually a lifetime member of that association. So from time to time, we do projects. I do projects together with the association. I attend the annual conferences, and we do stuff like this with communities with the Jamaica Association of Public Health Inspectors. So the answer to your question in one word would be health.
Hmm. And but you chose education this time. Is that it?
Well,
In terms
we
of
chose
Mhm.
education this time because there we are health projects also, right? There will be a major health project in Montego Bay working with the St. James Health Department. I think the focus will be on the Know Your Numbers campaign.
Yes.
Yeah, that. So that will be taking place, right? The JD Tan, that's the Jamaica Diaspora Action Task Force Action Network, and I think a group from Northeast and USA, they will be working with St. James Health Department in putting on a major Know Your Numbers campaign as a diaspora service project in Barrington here in St. James.
Mhm.
So, so yes, I am more aligned with the education project this time, but it doesn't mean that I'm not involved in the other the related one. The one they chose is a basic school, and I'll be working on that one more so than this project this time.
That's the Mount Olive Basic School in Johns Hall, St. James.
That is correct. That's one of the three major Canadian projects that we'll be doing this time on June 20th.
And what can you tell us with respect to the the most memorable, or to use one of the new terms these days, the most impactful of the conferences that you've attended so far? We're on to number 10 now. But is there one in particular that you found through the years that was quite impactful?
Okay, so number 10, I missed only one, 2017. Right?
Wow.
So I've been to all of them from the very first one. Uh, the topics discussed at the conferences are generally the same, right? Education, investment, health, and crime and security. But for me, I think the most impactful would have been the 2019 conference when we did a major their service project in Clarendon. That's at the Victoria Primary School in rural Clarendon.
Hmm.
And we saw maybe, I think, the estimate was over 500 persons benefited from that major health fair that we had in Clarendon. So to me, that was the most impactful. It was impactful in that we saw some persons at that time. We had really good support from China Net Department. So we had almost every area of health covered. And we had persons there who were seeing a doctor for the first time. So that was really impactful. These were persons in rural communities, and they more or less take care of their health themselves. But having seen medical personnel for the first time, in 60 or 70 years, that was really impactful. I thought that was maybe the most beneficial, definitely the most beneficial one for me. So the day of service 2019 conference, that's what I would like.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thompson. And what does an associate director, a retired associate director, uh, what does that individual do when he is no longer actively involved?
Oh, he's no longer actively involved, like you said before, at Toronto Public Health. We're still actively involved in so many other aspects. we talk about the diaspora component, right? Assisting the Jamaican diaspora. I'm a Global Jamaica Diaspora Council member, right?
Of course.
And I'm involved in a number of community projects here in Canada, not related to diaspora. For example, I'm currently working on a health and wellness strategy for the Black community in a particular community in Canada, and that's a major project. I'm developing a strategy for that. So I'm very involved in community work, not just for diaspora, but for the Black community and for humans in general.
How is that project going? And any idea how soon we'll hear a little more on that?
Oh, you can start hearing much more on that, more than just a little, right?
Mm.
The strategy itself is being developed, but along the way, we implement a number of steps. Like, for example, we have a number of community health fairs. And what we do for the community health fairs, we look at health in the broadest sense, using maybe the definition like the World Health Organization use. Not just the absence of diseases, but we look at health, wellness, and well-being. So we have had a number of those weeks already. So what it's doing is bringing healthcare into communities, which they are familiar with, like the Jamaican Canadian Association, where people will come over, they enjoy the culture, they enjoy the music, they enjoy the entertainment, and they get health services. So we are already implementing some of the aspects of the strategy.
Mhm. Well, you you were supposed to be retired, but it seems it's not retired in the usual sense, but it's to retire uh, to, in terms of changing wheels so that you can continue to play your part in the development of the land of your birth, would you say?
That is so true. And I must quickly, Dervan, mention the support that we get from you, right? And not just in promoting this, not just having an interview on your program, but you actually visit Canada sometimes to cover some of the activities and projects we have. The last time you were at our regional conference, and we really
Yes.
thank and appreciate you for that. Because it helps to spread the word globally, not just here in Canada.
Yes, indeed. Hold a moment, please. Let's just take this break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30. Come to the Westmoreland Agricultural Show, Sunday, June 2 at Bay Road, Little London, Westmoreland. There'll be agricultural and industrial displays, Kids Village, Health Village, Youth and Agriculture Village, Local Economic Development Village, Farmers Market, tree crops and ornamental plants on sale, entertainment all day, prizes and surprises, and much more. Gates open at 8 a.m. Admission adults 1,000, children 500. Major sponsors Bamboo Bioproducts, Icon Importers and Distributors Limited, and Matex. See you at the Westmoreland Agricultural Show, Sunday, June 2 at Bay Road, Little London. Jamaica invites its global family to a momentous homecoming June 16 to 19 for the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference in beautiful Montego Bay. Join us for a cultural immersion, network, and do business as you explore innovative solutions for nation building. Plan to attend. Your inside voice and presence matter. Register at Diaspora Conference ja.eventbrite.com. The 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference, united for Jamaica's transformation, fostering peace, productivity, and youth empowerment. Convened by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. You're guiding a light strong. Build a stairway to heaven. Put Zion back home.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live in your smart devices, on your smart devices all over the world. And we welcome your participation as well. You know the numbers to call, 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And our guest who's been gracious enough to spend a little time with us. Dr. Sylvanus Thompson is still on the line. Thank you very much for staying with us, Dr. T. We hope we're not taking up too much of your time.
No, you can never take up too much of my time, Dervan. It's always a pleasure to be on.
Thank you very much. Now, can you remind us where in Jamaica you call home?
Okay, so I call Thompson Town in Clarendon home, right? I kind of own that town, right? So that's where I call home. I spend most of my time in Jamaica and Montego Bay, but initially from Thompson Town.
Mhm. And what were those early years like for you?
Oh, ah, it's so long that I cannot remember what those early years. But I remember when I think that I remember my Thompson. When I went to school in Clarendon College, the real CC. Some of my colleagues from Montego Bay might want to debate that, but it's during the CC. I went to Clarendon College, and I can recall, of course, if you look at transportation, when I go to Jamaica now, I don't see the big buses anymore. Right? They might be in Kingston, but I don't see them in Jamaica. You see, the number of the cars, the car taxis. I see the Voxy, I see the Noah. In my days, they just had the big buses, so you catch the bus in the early morning to go to school and catch it back. So I remember having to walk to catch the bus to school. So I never forget stuff like that. I know how things have changed in terms of transportation. But living back there, you get up in the morning, you can pick an arrange. I don't have to go up to supermarket to try and buy one. Mangoes do the same, especially in summer. You have to pick mangoes. Nobody own the mango trees, just pick mangoes. So it was real fun going back up in the country.
And any educator or set of educators who have had the most lasting impact on your life?
Uh, yes, yes. Well, of course, they are all gone now, right? They are all gone now. But back in primary school, I had the principal, and we had a teacher Brian, and everybody from Victoria Thompson went to Victoria Primary School will know Teacher Brian. But Teacher Brian, and one of the reasons I remember Teacher Brian is that during the morning, when kids go into school, kind of fool around, start playing marbles, playing gig and other stuff. So we kind of get to school late sometimes. But now when Teacher Brian was around, he comes out on the road and he's coming down the street with his traps. So you better make sure that you're in school on time, otherwise you'll be getting the wrath of Teacher Brian. So yeah, Teacher Arthur Brand, the late Teacher Arthur Brand, Mrs. Hines Givens again, the one I really raise for mention is Givens is that during the summer she keeps school. So we had nothing called holiday or very little holiday. And you got to go to Miss Nez, as we call her. You got to go to her house for summer school. And she wasn't charging. She wasn't charging. The parents could hardly afford it. She was charging. So those persons that really some impact on my early education. And going to parents as well. I can't think of anyone that really had a significant impact both in primary school, teacher Brian, and this.
But in terms of your choice of public health, what did that for you? What sparked your interest?
Oh, it's kind of strange, right? And one day I just saw this gentleman, know him now, I saw him doing a meat inspection. He was inspecting a carcass, and then he inspected the carcass and then he stamped it, and then the butcher could start selling. And that kind of sparked my interest. I thought that was pretty neat. I'm not sure how he just look at that carcass and decide that it's fit for human consumption. So I spoke with him and he said, okay, yeah, this is a part of public health inspector's job. And he told me about the other aspects like food safety and all of that. And right away, I applied to Western School of Public Health, and that was it. That's the only thing I've done, since then, public health inspection.
Mhm. And how do you think you have, in what ways do you think you have already left your mark, or is there more to come?
There's always more to come. I hope I can still contribute, but I think in terms of public health, I'm not sure. I think you have really asked me a question.
Mhm.
I think I've made my mark, right? I I was involved in almost every aspect of public health while working in Jamaica. I worked at every level, hospital sanitation. I was regional chief. I was acted at the national level. And in terms of the Jamaica Association of Public Health Inspectors, I was a past president. After they started the Western chapter of the Jamaica Association of Public Health Inspectors. In terms of legislation, I helped to develop a number of the current legislation that might have been improved now. The meat inspection regulation, I worked on that. The workers regulation, I worked on that. The food and the training and education regulation, I worked on that. So I was involved in almost every major outbreak investigation during that time. And in terms of impact, I still work closely with the Jamaica Association of Public Inspectors, like I said. Food safety is where my bias is, and I sponsor an annual most outstanding inspector of the year award. So I go to the conference every year and I present that award to the most outstanding public health inspector in Jamaica. And that's really to encourage them to do that bit more in terms of food safety.
Mhm.
So yes, I was granted the high status from the association that I've been a lifetime member of the association.
Okay. So what do you do for fun these days, Dr. T?
I have enough time for that. So hopefully, we'll go to the conference in Jamaica. We're down here. Yeah, we're going to the presentations in the 3 days. We have the diaspora day of service and the fourth day. But in the evenings, there are always activities taking place each day after the conference. Right. So there'll be some opportunity for fun. And when in the summer, we have lots of stuff here to do. I'm very actively involved with the Jamaican Canadian Association. And we do have events, have events to celebrate Jamaica's independence during the February for Black History Month. We have the annual Wilderness Burn. So there are opportunities to have fun even while working.
Yes. Well, we want to thank you very much for spending some time with us on today's edition of Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. Clearly, you are still quite engaged, very active, very busy, and serving Jamaica, the diaspora, and the rest of the world. Well done. Well done, Dr. T. Dr. T.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dervan. I just want to maybe use the last couple of seconds to remind person to support support all the projects, but especially because of my advice, of course. Especially the Canadian project, the Jamaican Association of Montreal, their project will be to repair the boys and girls washroom at Black River High School. The Smile Foundation, they'll be having a community gifting program in Rios. And of course, at Mount Holly Basic School, will be having painting, refurbishing, donation of supplies, and an educational component provided by the JD and Early Childhood Education Task Force. So we're asking everyone to come out and support all the projects, the diaspora project, but of course, Canadian one.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sylvanus Thompson, for your service to Jamaica and the diaspora. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, everyone. See you on June 16 to 20.
Looking forward to that. All right. Take care. Bye-bye. Dr. Sylvanus Thompson, Global Jamaica Diaspora Council representative, a retired public health inspector, retired associate director with Toronto Public Health, and one who continues to be very involved in the development of Jamaica at home and abroad. Thank you very much, Dr. Thompson, Dr. T. As we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, and still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. All right, can we clear a few messages? What time is it? We have a couple of minutes to the break. Let's go to this message. This one is from Franklin McDonald. Cannabis poisonings among older adults have tripled. That sounds serious. And Franklin McDonald has brought it to our attention. Cannabis poisonings among older adults tripled. Let's see what is being said in that regard. I want to share a little more with you in just a moment. We're watching the clock at the same time because we are coming up to a break as well. So stand by, listeners, as we continue to share with you useful information and help to connect Jamaica and Jamaicans with the rest of the world. So we're just waiting just a bit to be able to pull up this story in just a moment. Here on both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM, and curious to get some more information on the subject matter introduced by Mr. Franklin McDonald, who will, at the rate at which he assists us, where he becomes a member of the team. But we really appreciate your efforts, Mr. McDonald. More in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Jesus, oh Jesus, oh how I love to call your name. Tune in to Power 106 FM for the longest running religious calling program on Jamaican radio, The Prayer Line. Join Pastor Errol Hay and his team as they offer spiritual guidance and intercession grounded in biblical doctrine. Hear powerful testimonies from Jamaica and around the world. The Prayer Line, a source of support and inspiration in these trying times. That's the Prayer Line on Power 106 FM, Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Join us.
We shall live in Amen. You shall be a living testimony. You're on the Lord's side.
May the good Lord be with you down every road you roll. And may sunshine and happiness surround you when you fall home.
So CNN is reporting that there's a tripling of poisonings as far as cannabis is concerned. And this story on CNN says one may think young people are the main group enjoying the freedom of legalized weed. But in Canada, the greatest increase in users after legalization was among older adults. And sometimes it's sending them to the hospital, according to new research. The rate of emergency department visits for cannabis poisoning in older adults during the period of legalization of dried cannabis flower and edibles, October 2018 through December 2022, in Canada, was significantly higher than that of the pre-legalization period, according to a research letter published Monday in the journal JAMA Internal Medicine. So this is information we want to be mindful of and pay attention to. Edibles, which include baked goods, candies, and beverages, are increasingly popular, said lead research author Dr. Nathan Stahl, a geriatrician and a clinician scientist at Sinai Health in Ontario. But some older adults may be unaware of the strength of today's weed, and little is known about the health effects of legalizing edible cannabis on older adults. The age group with the largest growth in overall cannabis use a year after dried cannabis flower was legalized in Canada, Stahl said. There's a bit of an age-related bias that many healthcare practitioners and, frankly, society hold that older adults are not using drugs. And that's not true, Stahl said. We found that the largest increases in emergency department visits for cannabis poisoning among seniors occurred after edible cannabis became legal for retail sale in January 2020. The authors used the Ontario Ministry of Health's administrative data to examine the rates of emergency room visits for cannabis poisoning among older adults during the pre-legalization period, January 2015 to September 2018, and the two legalization periods, October 2018 through December 2019, which permitted the sale of dried cannabis flower only, and January 2020 through December 2022, which marked the legalization of cannabis edibles. When people have cannabis poisoning, according to Stahl, they may experience confusion, psychosis, including hallucinations, anxiety or panic attacks, rapid heartbeat, chest pain, nausea, and vomiting. During the 8-year study period, there were 2,322 emergency department visits for cannabis poisoning in older adults who were age 69 on average. Nearly 17% of those adults were simultaneously intoxicated with alcohol, about 38% had cancer, and 6.5% had dementia. Compared with pre-legalization, legalization period number 1 saw a twice higher rate of emergency department visits for cannabis poisoning. The rate during the second legalization period tripled that of pre-legalization. And we could go on, but for your own use, feel free to Google cannabis edible triple or something like that, and you should find the information. It's being reported by CNN. So you can Google cannabis poisonings among older adults, because that is what has tripled according to the study. So in your time, feel free to read at your own leisure and learn more of this new development. As we continue with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. And this one says, "Good day, Brother Dervan. I hope all is well with you." All is indeed well. We give thanks for that. And this is one of our listeners who had brought to our attention and they had brought it to the attention. They wanted to bring it to the attention of the general listenership. And that's, well, let me read the message. He says, "Attached is information about one of my tenants' businesses. I understand that you feature young entrepreneurs on your show. If possible, could you consider featuring them? I strongly support renting to young entrepreneurs, and I have another couple on the first floor running the Golden Peak Farm Store. Both are entrepreneur couples. Thank you." Well, we'll be happy to put you in touch with them after all. So it means a generation of revenue for the business, and it's a support base, becomes a support base for those entrepreneurs who will sign up for office space. We'll definitely share Carol Boyd. If you're, I think I'm seeing you here. If you're listening, would love to. But we can't do that right now. But just to say, listen out for a call so we can put both sides together going forward. The business is called Sterix Auto Parts and Accessories. And as I said, we'll share the information with our listener who, was it Carol? Yes, it was Carol Boyd who suggested that we focus a little more on entrepreneurship, because that's one of the areas we reference whenever we're introducing both sides of the story. So we're looking forward to that relationship coming together to the benefit of those who are involved. So you can listen out for that when it does happen. In the meantime, Carol Boyd, let's talk off air and ensure that we put the prospective entrepreneurs together with the operators of that complex. So we'll be more than happy to oblige. So it's a new venture in St. Anne's Bay. Well, as we said, we're going to share, because we can't do that on air. So we're going to send the information, forward the information to Carol Boyd and to the operators of I think it's a shopping plaza in St. Anne's Bay. So they are prepared to offer space at a cost, I would imagine, but maybe a reduced cost, for this couple described as dynamic couple bringing fresh energy and passion to the auto parts industry. All right. Well, we'll be happy to just play the role of facilitator, just to get you together, and we look forward to learning of how it unfolds. In the meantime, let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Arlene Clark says, "Good day, Dervan. I had a bad experience last Sunday downtown at 11:30 a.m. It left me nervous and afraid of downtown. I came off the Portmore bus and came across the street adjacent to March Drugstore. I decided to buy a pound of melon because I was feeling thirsty. I stopped at the melon man and placed my order. Just as I stretched towards him to hand the cash, I felt my 2 ears pulling, only to realize that this thief pulled on my ears and took my, oh dear, took my pair of earrings. I started to shout at him, and he just walked and turned around the corner. 2 policemen were on the location, and they took me in the vehicle to chase him, but he went in the corner. I can't believe that a pair of earrings, this man thieving. It is really sad," says Arlene. "We're really terribly sorry to hear of that awful, awful experience of yours. Really and truly sorry to hear that. We can never be too careful. We can never, ever be too careful." This one says, "Good day. I am non-aligned." Hold on, let's take the break and come back in just a moment.
Contractors, developers, and small builders. Contact Coast to Coast Group of Companies for high quality concrete products. The time by Coast to Coast Group of Companies is
3 o'clock.
May the good Lord be with you down every road you go. And may sunshine and happiness surround you when you're far from home. And may you grow to be proud, dignified and true. And do unto others as you have done to you. Be courageous.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. And the text line is 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Let's go to the phone lines once again. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Oh, brilliant. I'm wishing you the best of the day. Where I am, it's raining.
Okay. Thank you for the wish.
On Friday, I was listening to the program and I was hoping to get on the air with you.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, you'd asked for information about 87 and 90 octane fuels.
Yes. What's the difference, if any?
Sorry?
What's the difference, if any?
Okay.
Mm.
Essentially, the only real difference between the 87 and the 90 is that the 87 is a little bit easier to detonate or to ignite as opposed to the 90. And the reason or the rationale behind having the different octane levels is essentially if an engine has a higher compression rate, if an engine is designed to produce more power because of a higher compression ratio, You don't want the fuel to detonate prematurely because you'll have pinging and potential engine damage. Now, I happen to own and ride a high-performance motorcycle that has a compression ratio of 12.5 to 1. So at the bottom of the stroke to the top, the compression is 12 and a half times greater. Most of the automobiles that people drive have a compression ratio of about 6 or 7 to 1. So if the motorcycle that I ride with a 12.5 compression ratio can use the 87 without pre-detonation, it basically means that most of the persons who buy the 90 for their cars, they're basically wasting money. The 90 doesn't offer better fuel economy, doesn't offer better power applications or anything. It's just a matter of preventing pre-detonation.
Yes.
For some persons, if there's a buildup of carbon in the engine and the compression ratio goes up and they're not able to get an overall, they can step up to the 90, but that would be a temporary fix anyway. So the long and short is that most of the persons who use 90 octane fuel in Jamaica are essentially wasting their money.
Mhm. Yeah, and I've noticed. I think is it an ad? What do you call? There. I'm trying to remember if it's Petrojam. I hear running an infomercial. I think it's more an infomercial than anything else, seemingly suggesting that we become a little wiser in terms of our choice of the fact that we are selective when it comes on to the petrol that we use. And just as you explained it a while ago, yes, I get it actually.
So Malcolm, you see, for many consumers, they equate something being more expensive with being better.
Mhm.
But in this particular instance, that is absolutely not the case.
Mhm. Yeah, clearly.
Right. The second thing that I wanted to, well, there's one main thing I wanted to discuss with you today. But
Yes.
because of Friday, I just wanted to step back in time a little bit.
Mhm.
There was a caller who also brought up the issue of constitutional reform.
Mhm.
And I'm one of the persons who believes that one should be realistic about the pros and cons of anything,
Mhm.
and to be realistic where development is concerned. If one were to look at many of the cases that have been presented before the Privy Council and the outcomes, one can reasonably say that having Jamaica with our current situation as a final arbiter is not a good idea. I can look at a case like Ezroy Millwood, who had a contract with government with a sub-franchise arrangement where he invested an incredible amount of money to live up to his side of the contractual agreement, and the government arbitrarily pulled the rug from under him and the persons who had an interest in that sub-franchise. And when the matter was adjudicated here in Jamaica, he lost. And when the matter went to the Privy Council, where, there was essentially a non-partisan or an impartial arbiter, he ended up with the greatest single monetary award ever handed down to a Jamaican who was filing an action against the government. So that as a single case demonstrates that Jamaica, if we can be proud Jamaicans, but we have to be realistic Jamaicans. Our country is not at a state of maturity where our systems are robust enough to actually be able to deliver some types of judgment in the interest of justice and not in the interest of a political ideology, a political movement, or the hierarchy of the status quo of power in Jamaica.
Jonathan?
Yeah, man, I'm here listening. I'm listening.
Okay, I'll give you another example.
Mm-hmm.
There was a minister of government in the UK. I think this was about 2012. He got a ticket for speeding. Now, his wife and himself were in this automobile, and the particular ticketing system that got him was a camera, where the camera automatically is triggered to take a photograph of the license plate of the vehicle once it exceeds a particular speed. So this particular minister of government, not only an MP but a member of cabinet, knew it would be embarrassing for him to get a ticket, having gotten a ticket for speeding, I think probably 4 months before. So his wife took the ticket in that she mailed in, because when they issue the ticket from the camera, they actually send the ticket and the fine return to your home in the mail. The culpable person fills it out with a check or whatever, and you pay remotely. So she took the ticket for this speeding offense. Now, several years later, the political figure, the gentleman, and his wife got divorced, and she made a declaration in court as to what she had done because she wanted to embarrass him. And the upshot of it was he was prosecuted, she was prosecuted, and they both went to jail. Now, juxtapose a situation like that with what happened several years ago with a particular high-profile business person here in Jamaica. I can mention his name because it's a public record, but Mr. Bicknell from Tankwell was on his way to the airport with his daughter, and I think his daughter's friend. He got stopped by a sergeant of police for speeding, and what unfolded was such a travesty. It ended up with Mr. Bicknell supposedly putting some money in a document case, handing it to the policeman, who still issued the ticket because there were other persons who were being ticketed that were observing. His behavior was abominable. He was behaving quite badly from all reports. He in turn called a politician who sought to intervene. The police officer, the sergeant, thought his life was being threatened, and he sought the help of the person that was then earmarked to be the next commissioner of police, a gentleman who had gotten quite a few accolades and accreditations in law enforcement, taking international courses and so on. He was gearing up to revolutionize the constabulary in Jamaica. And when the smoke cleared, Mr. Bicknell and the politician, Dervan, were cleared of any impropriety, and the police officer ended up getting a conviction, losing his job, and I think he even lost his pension rights. And this is the Jamaica that we are in. We're in a Jamaica where the statutory declaration that the senior administrator of the government, the prime minister, is supposed to issue once a year, and he doesn't do it, and there are no ramifications. Compliance with rules and regulations are manipulated by persons who are in power and with influence. So at the end of the day, as much as we might not want to admit it, we are not a mature democracy that's able to properly adjudicate certain matters and hand down decisions that are in the best interest of the thing we call justice. And if anyone wants to fool themselves into thinking that we can be the final arbiter of anything, we'll be setting ourselves up for some serious problems. We already have enough serious problems without foolishly inviting more by trying to pretend that saying that, okay, the white man shouldn't be the final arbiter of anything, but there's certainly the white man in England who can at least adjudicate a matter on the principles of law and hand down a decision that is fair, right, and just, as opposed to our system here where it's so absurd. The Speaker of the House is the spouse of the Prime Minister, and people just, you know, take it as water off of a duck's back. So those are the 2 points I wanted to make from the program on Friday. And there's one other matter that I wanted to discuss with you.
Go ahead.
All right. There's a principle that says the person that is most vulnerable should have the greatest protections. An incident happened at a school in the parish where I live, St. Elizabeth, where a math teacher with a master's degree supposedly conducted some sort of ritual involving a chicken and the presumption of phobia and mental health and the rest. Now, Sir Malcolm, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there is a pervasive attitude among administrators in the school system in Jamaica to victimize teachers. Now, this particular teacher has been without a salary for over a year. This is a person who has gone through the difficulty, the ambit of not only getting a first degree, but a second one, has student loans to pay, lives in Black River and travels all the way to Elam, which is on the way to Balaclava, on a daily basis, and is put through the horror of being denied something that she's entitled to. As far as I'm aware, only a court of law is authorized to withhold a person's property from them or to take a person's property when acting within the ambit of a statute or an applicable law. For,
Hold a moment, please. One moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15. Power 106 FM, the digital sound, and now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us on 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band. You can also listen to us on the Power 106 FM app, which you can download on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can tune in on your mobile phones by dialing 631-359-8281 if you're in the US. And if you're in the UK, you can dial 0330-606-0953. Plus, listen to us on onespotmedia.com and the One Spot Media app, or log on to go-jamaica.com. Power 106 FM, where all views can contend, giving you powerful talk radio in so many ways, on air and online.
He could reach outside and be great. And if my heart you'll always stay forever young.
Thanks for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, please.
yes, Sir Malcolm. So the point I'm trying to make is when a principal of a school gets to the point where they're of the belief and opinion that their authority extends to the point where they can arbitrarily withhold someone's salary, they're conducting an act of criminality. The lady that was the victim in this particular instance should sue the principal in a private capacity and the bursar of that school, Elam, for behaving in a criminal manner to deprive her of her property. Her salary is not a favor, it is not a gift, it's an entitlement. And for anyone to be denied their own property for such an extended period of time is absolutely intolerable. And I understand that the lady was taken to a mental health facility after her home was raided and a lot of her personal items were either damaged or destroyed. The principal and the bursar of the school should be made to pay in a personal capacity for all losses that she has suffered. I doubt Milady will be able to secure a job in Jamaica again. So there should be provision by these people who victimized her to compensate her for the loss of income and the probability of her not being able to get the employment that she should be able to access because of what they have done to her. There's stories I could tell you, Sir Malcolm, about some of the things, some of the awful things that have been done to teachers by administrators in schools just for being vindictive. There's a gentleman I know personally who is still employed at a particular prominent high school who, because the other staff members recognized his ability to represent their interests, they voted for this particular teacher to be the teacher representative on the school board. And one of the things that he brought up that so offended the principal that she decided to have a personal vendetta was that there were a few teachers that were given something like 32 or 33 teaching sessions a week, and the principal's daughter was employed at the school on a full salary with only one session a week to teach. And that individual...
But it sounds though that a lot of these matters would be better directed to an attorney to take care of the affairs. Attorneys on both sides. Don't you think? Other than that, it just sounds like washing in public.
Sir Malcolm, you have a point, but the unfortunate thing is like healthcare. If you don't have access to resources, getting legal representation is extraordinarily difficult. And there are very few attorneys that are going to take on matters like these where it takes a lot of effort to present a case, and at the end of the process, there might not be a lot to be gained in terms of compensation for the attorney. The only reason why I was determined to bring up this conversation with you today, Sir Malcolm, is that many persons viewed that video and they were very condemnatory of the teacher. And that is the unfortunate thing. In this particular situation, the victim further victimized because persons looking on are only seeing but the tip of the iceberg and not the rest of the that would have prompted that errant behavior on the part of the teacher. Programs like yours are like of getting a matter to the public attention to at least get persons to look at both sides of the issue or both sides of the story.
Yeah, well, we were encouraged to by the fact that you're able to get some attention on point with some of the issues involved.
Yes.
But the time is not going to allow us.
Oh, yes, I appreciate that you've given me an opportunity to at least share this part of the equation. And I really do hope that something happens because we're already in a crisis with teachers, especially teachers in subject areas like mathematics. This particular teacher, like I say, she has a master's, and her skills would be so marketable in the US, in Canada, in the UK, and she's here. And instead of embracing her and putting her in a position where her work environment can be conducive to doing the best job possible for her students, she's put in a position where she has to essentially cry for help. And it's like throwing your voice in the wilderness,
Yeah, it's a most unfortunate situation. We trust that the help needed will be sought and received so that we can get on with our lives.
Thank you very much, Sir Malcolm, and I'm wishing you all the best for the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right, cheers.
Take care. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Good afternoon to those of you who are in touch with us. Nicola in Central Jamaica, Valerie Weller Peck, good afternoon to you. Audrey Smith in Southampton in England, thank you very much for the usual support. Norman Hines, good afternoon to you as well in St. Thomas. Velta Wilson, hello. Louis Burke, good to see you online. Good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your messages. Let's see. Hubert Fowlin, good afternoon to you as well. Mike Montgomery says, good afternoon, teacher, to you and your listeners. Teacher, the health ministry and the news talking about doctors will be at all health centers. It's a shame. When I went to Maypen Hospital today to make an appointment for a tooth, the day I got is the 10th of September. Not only that, I have to wait, and when I hear the people cry, it's not looking good, teacher. Could you get someone from the health ministry to talk about health conditions at Maypen Hospital? Please, and thanks. Keep safe. Well, we're sorry to hear about that. Over to the Ministry of Health and Wellness to identify whether there is, whether there is a problem in terms of getting people safely in and out of the respective health facilities. And if so, what are the remedies, or what remedy? How will the situation be remedied? That's that. And this one, let's see. This one says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan and faithful listeners. I'm here listening and enjoying the rain here in St. Mary. Thank God, says Faye Weller. Mikey Jarrett says, Dervan Malcolm, Tuesday afternoon blessings and blessed love of my brother, Dervan, from Brooklyn, New York. Good afternoon to you. Anthony Davis says, hello, Mr. Malcolm. Do you know that in Miami, all motor vehicles driving on the road only have one license plate, which is placed on the rear of the vehicle? And Sharon Ferron is greeting us as well. Hello to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Hello to Ricardo and Miss Cherry Henry, who are also in touch with us. Thank you very much for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. This one says, good day, Dervan. I am non-aligned and no P. We need to get on with fighting crime, educating the children, making the roads safer for the citizens, and improving the economy. Let him who is without sin cast the first stone. What about the MPs who have their money in British banks? Are they saying they have no faith in the banking systems in Jamaica? Get on with moving the country forward and stop focusing on petty issues, says this person. And let's see. This one says, "Hi Dervan, can you tell me from which school was being discussed? I was away from then the conversations from when the conversation started." All right. No institution was named. And this one says, "Good day, Dervan. As it relates to the Mark Golding dual citizenship, although Mr. Golding is not in any breach for the position he holds, I'm suggesting that he gives up his British citizenship, as it will only make him more stronger and anchored to be the next Prime Minister of Jamaica. Doing so will also be a launching pad as far as popularity is concerned among the Jamaican population and the diaspora. I want Mr. Golding to show them again that he's the man who leads from the front. He did it recently with the 230% increase for parliamentarians not accepting it, and he can do it again in this matter. Stay strong, Mr. Golding. They cannot stop you. You're a man of integrity," says Yaman McBean. Cuban in Georgia says, "Good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. This administration gave itself a close to 300% raise, and to the public servants, they gave them 15% raise, Sir Malcolm. This is clearly inequality on the part of those in charge of the affairs of government." And the messages still coming in. And this one says, "How unjust is the government of Jamaica towards the people of Jamaica, especially the civil servants?" Another message, "Hi Dervan, the recent discussions surrounding Mr. Golding's statements, particularly concerning the monarchy, the Privy Council, and the issue of dual citizenship. It is evident that there is a growing confusion surrounding Mr. Golding's statements, with some individuals focusing on his color and other irrelevant factors. However, I believe that the core issue at hand revolves around honesty, loyalty, integrity, and principle. As we consider the transition from the monarchy and the discussion on moving away from the Privy Council, it is imperative to uphold these values relentlessly. One of the concerning aspects of the recent dialogue is the apparent use of the diaspora as a justification for personal preferences. Mr. Golding's actions seem to suggest a desire to hold on to his British lineage, using the diaspora as a shield in the process. This approach does not align with the values of transparency and integrity that are essential in such discussions. Moreover, when directly questioned about his citizenship status, Mr. Golding's response lacked full disclosure and honesty. By omitting the fact that he holds a Jamaican passport and potentially holds dual citizenship, he failed to provide a clear and transparent answer. This lack of forthrightness raises questions about his commitment to honesty and principled leadership. I have observed a troubling, we'll come back to the rest of the message in just a moment.
Help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:32 on Power 106.
Both sides of the story.
Confidence in those who serve, especially in the public sector, is vital to Jamaica's progress towards Vision 2030 and beyond. Many people have quietly and diligently given sterling service over the years to the benefit of many Jamaicans at home and across the world. Power 106 FM, in playing its part in showcasing those individuals who served in building our nation and to create greater public understanding and appreciation of their sacrifice, presents the feature Service Stalwarts. Listen to Service Stalwarts every Wednesday at 4 p.m. during both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm right here on Power 106 FM.
Both sides of the story.
Courageous and be brave. And in my heart you'll always stay forever young. Forever young. So this person who goes by the moniker GBO says, I have observed a troubling trend where the true essence of the discussions is being obfuscated by unrelated issues and distractions. It is essential for us to recenter our focus on the fundamental principles of honesty, loyalty, integrity, and principle as we navigate these complex conversations. As we move forward, I urge for a return to a transparent and principled approach in addressing these significant matters that impact our country's future. And that lengthy message is from GBO. Thank you, GBO, for your message. And let's see who else is messaging us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And let's see. So this person has sent us a message saying PM Andrew Holness was appointed to UK Privy Council May 26, 2021. The effective